To Mana TV and TV5. You are watching Insight with Praveen Puram. Today, our special guest, Avantika Vandanapu. I know many of you know about her, and I would like to briefly introduce about Avantika Vandanapu. She is from Telangana, that too from Hyderabad, Banjara Hills. Being a Telangana 16-year-old girl today, she started her journey from dancing, singing, and advertisements. And she also did a short films and also the Tollywood films, Bollywood, and now Hollywood. Let's learn more in this show from Avantika. What is her journey? What are the challenges? And it should be an inspirational for all of our NRI children to learn from this episode. That's the goal. Welcome, Avantika. Thank you so much for your time today. How are you doing today?
I'm doing good. Thank you for having me.
Yeah. How are you feeling being in a Disney Hollywood movie? What is your how are you feeling
I'm
about the Hollywood?
I'm really excited. Honestly, it's been like a dream and I'm very very happy that I got to have this opportunity and I hope that this film will inspire many many people and I hope that, I made the Indian South Asian community proud with this movie.
Excellent, excellent. We all are proud of you, Avantika. So let's get started about the movie Spin, right? Why don't you brief more about this Spin movie, and then we will get into your childhood. How did you start, and what are the motivational factors, challenges, and then inspire all of our viewers, Avantika. That's the goal today. And I know that you have been interviewed in a different aspect, but in this show, it is exclusively for all the NRI kids and also in India too. What is your journey, how your parents have helped you to to be to this position, and what are the roadblocks, and these kind of questions we will you definitely, I know that you will be very excited to answer and everyone will be excited to hear from you. So let's start with the Spin. How did this Spin opportunity and being in Hollywood, what is your feeling?
So which one do you want me to start with? You
I
asked.
think Spin movie experience, definitely that would be what is this movie all about, how did you get this opportunity, and where we are today and when is the release. Maybe if you can step by step, if you explain us, that would be a great help.
Okay. Spin is a movie about Ria who wants to pursue music, but she's struggling because she has responsibilities to her family, to her friends, and she loves to code and cook, and she's juggling all these different things. And now music has been added to the mix. And so she's kind of navigating her way through balancing various different activities and prioritizing herself sometimes before her family and before her friends. And she spends her entire life thinking that STEM and coding and technology, that is where she's going to end up. But when she's reintroduced to music by a boy from her school, it kind of reignites her passion for the arts, and she entertains the dream of maybe pursuing music instead of technology.
Excellent, Avantika. So why did they choose you? How did you find out this opportunity came to you, or you have reached, or with your circle you got? Explain us more about the opportunity.
Sorry. Truly, I think in Hollywood, especially if you're starting out, which I am starting out, there is no getting opportunities with your circle. There is no circle, that doesn't exist. It's a myth. There is no getting movies with your connections. It truly does not matter, because at the end of the day, it's whatever actor is best for the role and whatever actor is going to do the best job of conveying the script, they are the ones who are going to be selected. And why was I picked? I don't know. It's not a question for me. It's a question for our director. But The audition process in Hollywood is pretty standard. You start
Mhm.
off with an audition where, a couple thousand people will audition for one role, and then you go to a callback and then a producer session. So the pool becomes smaller and smaller. Eventually, maybe three girls will be put in front of Disney, the entire network, and the director and the executive producer and the writers will make a group effort and kind of unanimously vote for, oh, we think this actor is the best for this job. So in this case, they chose me, and that's how I landed the opportunity for Spin. But it's a pretty standard process that happens in Hollywood.
Congratulations. However, I just wanted to, the struggle behind choosing you. That's what I wanted to get out of this. And tell me more about the directors and executive producers. Are they all Indian Americans or purely Americans?
Our director, Manjari, she is Indian, and so she can bring the South Asian authenticity to the film. And she's just an amazing, amazing director. And truly, I'm so thankful that she's the director for this film. And our executive producer, Zan, she is not Indian American, but she truly has done her research, and she has spent time with the South Asian community in such close connection that she does make her best effort to bring authenticity to the film. And she brought on board a director like Manjari, and she brought on board me, and she just really does make a great effort to make the film as South Asian as possible and as true to our community as possible.
Excellent, Avantika. So coming to your journey, right? Let's talk about your journey, and then we will compare Tollywood to Hollywood. What is your experience? Because I see very less people get this opportunity, right? Being from India and going there and flying from the opportunity Tollywood, Bollywood, and then Hollywood. So I could see very less people getting this opportunity. Again, congratulations, and we are proud of you for that. And tell us more about your childhood. How this movie, like I know that you are a good dancer, so tell us more about how this kick started and what made you to go into the movies or advertisements, and how this the opportunity translated. If you can tell us more, people will be inspired. Whoever has that zeal, they can pursue them.
So you're right. I did start off as a dancer, and that was kind of my origin for acting. When I was a dancer, I got a lot of comments about my face and how I expressed, and it was kind of a way that was a little bit unique to myself. And slowly, as I started dancing a lot more and more, I'm gonna say I've danced now for pretty much my entire life, but when I reached kind of the 10-year mark, I was like, oh, I want to start branching out into different things. So I started taking drama classes at school, trying my luck there. And when I went to Mumbai and I competed in Dance India Dance, that was
Mhm.
kind of my first introduction to film industry, because Mumbai is the hub for film in India. So
Mhm.
that was the first time I kind of saw the film industry and how it tied in with the dance industry. And I was like, oh, I really, really want to be a part of this. And so when I went back to the US, my mom and I started working really hard on acting, and we started submitting audition tapes. And we got an audition for a Telugu film, and we ended up booking it. So we went to India for, I'm going to say, the original plan was to go there for 3 months and to film the movie and come back home. But, booking films works a little bit differently in India. Once you book one film, you can book another, and it's just like a chain reaction. So that 3 month trip ended up extending to 3 years, and I worked there for the entirety of the 3 years. And eventually, I kind of decided I think American film industry might be a better fit for me in terms of roles and in terms of how I was growing and how I was developing. So I was like, okay, I kind of want to move back to the US and try my luck over there.
Awesome. Oh my God, 3 months to 3 years? Just tell us what are your challenges? 3 years it's a long time. There will be, I'm sure that there might be disturbance in your, in your education and your mother's, father's, everything. The lifestyle might be disturbed. Tell us more about that. How did you overcome those?
Honestly, I have really, really supportive parents, so I was very lucky to not be exposed to as many obstacles as someone I think with not such a great support system would be exposed to. So truly, the obstacles I went through were very, very common for actors, just like struggling with education and trying to keep up with both studies and with acting. But my mom, she left her job and she traveled with me for 3 years and she stayed with me in India. And my dad still has his job in California and he shuttled back and forth. So they both made their best effort to support me. In terms of my own challenges, education was definitely a big challenge, but I made my way through it. I aced all my classes, so I did well, but it was definitely very, very hard. The thing with the Indian film industry is that it doesn't have many laws in place to protect children and ensure that they're studying on set, which is partly one of the reasons why I came back to the US, because the US does have regulations in place that ensure that kids are studying and they can do school and acting. So it was tough in India, but I was able to manage. um, Another struggle in India, definitely the environment. I grew up in the US, and despite going to India once every year, it's tough living there for 3 years and trying to acclimate yourself to a whole new type of people. And I can speak Telugu fluently, so that definitely helped, and I definitely felt more comfortable there. But overall, it was such a great experience that I don't really associate it very much with struggling. I associate it with a lot of happiness and a lot of excitement.
That's that's a good spirit, positive spirit, being happy in spite of all the obstacles. So tell me one thing, whenever you go to these shootings and all, you might be having some tough times, definitely, as a girl. So how do you approach? Mostly you used to discuss all your issues with mom or dad. What was your comfort zone there?
I think my mom, definitely my mom. Also because she was in India with me more often because my dad was traveling back and forth. She just had more context about what was happening to me on set, so it just felt more appropriate to come to her if I had any trouble ever. But now that I'm in the US and they're both here with me all the time, truly I can talk to my mom or my dad. It just depends on what happens.
Excellent. So, what was the biggest difference you found from Tollywood to Hollywood? I know that the movie making might be the same, but it might be very scheduled, very technically sound in US, and that sort of a thing. So, as an actor, especially from the South Asian community, how did you feel your experience from Tollywood to Hollywood?
So you
Any
were
5, 6 years?
So you were right when you said that I think things in America run a little bit more organized, and I think it just has to do with the way films run here. And in India, everything is a lot more natural, and it's a bit more go with the flow, and you kind of have a lot more freedom with how you want to shoot things, what you want to shoot on that day. Each have their positives, each have their negatives. It truly is just the style of the industries. Um, when it comes to my experience, I found that in India, it's just a lot harder to be a girl and a kid in the industry. And because, like I said, there aren't very many regulations in place to protect women and children there. So it is harder there for sure. As a human being, it's a lot harder. And in America, I feel much more safe. And I think that just has to do with how many precautions are taken in America and the legalities associated with it. One of the other experiences I had was in India, just because the film in general is so much more different. There's music, there's dancing. So, filming all of that in India is a lot more different than filming in America, where it's scenes on scenes, and there's no kind of, there very rarely is there a concept of having song and dance in a film. So I had, a lot of fun being able to experience that in India. And the costumes and the fashion, it's a lot more vivid and bright in India. So I had a lot of fun, truly kind of experimenting with all of that. Um, what else? I also think in terms of roles, there are a lot more roles and opportunities in Hollywood, because in India, if you're a teenage girl, there's a very limited range of roles you can do, and most of them consist of playing the younger childhood version of a heroine, or, they're along similar lines. And I found that in America, the expanse is just a lot broader. At the same time, it's so hard to book something here because there's so many talented people, and it's almost like the entire country is auditioning for one role, because for the entirety of America, there's Hollywood, and that's it. Whereas in India, for Telugu people, there's Tollywood. For Hindi people, there's Bollywood. Like, you have more, more sections, and it's a smaller pool of people. So I definitely found that it's tougher to book something in America than it is in India.
Excellent. I was about to ask you one more question, because in any of the movies in India, you have songs, you have a lot of dancing, and you have a lot of things to do. So in Hollywood, yeah, it's only 1.5 hour movie at the most, maybe 1 hour something too. So how do you feel the difference? Like whenever you go to the set, right? So there is a lot of work in India. Indian movies, definitely there is a lot of work. And I'm sure that now your movie is almost about to end, or where are we in the Hollywood movie? You are still in shooting, or how far is it done?
For Spin?
The spin.
Oh, Spin finished shooting last year.
Oh, awesome. So you might now tell me very clearly how long it took in Spin and how long it took in Tollywood, different sets, because technically in US, in America, the technology will play a great role, right? Is that true?
Not necessarily. I don't think so. The technology is very similar in India and America. The same camera equipment is used. In fact, a lot of visual effects that are done for American films are done in India. So definitely the technology is on the same level. But I believe projects in India just take longer to film due to American films just tend to be more like on paper. They're very, very organized. And today we're going to shoot, I've seen call sheets where today we're going to shoot 2.25 pages of the script. It's very, very specific. Whereas in India, it's kind of like, let's see how the weather is, let's see how the actors are feeling. Why don't we shoot 2 scenes today? And you know what? If we aren't able to shoot 2 scenes, it's fine. We'll just shoot it another day. So in India, if a filming is kind of set for 3 months, you can expect it to go up till 5 months because of all the delays and all of the extensions. And it's okay. The films turn out great. They turn out more natural. But films in India, in general, it's safe to say that they'll take a little bit longer than the period designated than American films.
Awesome. Let's talk about fun.
Okay.
Where do you get more fun, in Indian film or the Hollywood film, if you were to compare, because you have experienced both of them?
Mm-hmm. For the dancing and music, I would say Indian films, but in general, I would say American films. I think in America, it's everybody has their own job, and it's like actors get to act, and the entire crew kind of works to protect actors and make sure they're as comfortable as possible. And so when I'm on set in America, I always feel like, oh, my job is just to act, and if I do that well, it's enough. So I'm allowed to do that as best as I can, and my mind is free of distractions, and I have the most fun that way because I get to concentrate all of my energy onto acting. Whereas in India, I was kind of juggling so many different things that it was a little bit hard to, find the joy in acting because I was managing school and I was managing sleeping because I would work such long days. And so I find that in general, I probably have a lot more fun on sets in Hollywood.
Excellent. So do you go to the school or college now, or still you do remotely?
I go to high school, but now that COVID is here, I think everyone is doing online school. But I do go to high school, yes.
Excellent. You brought up a good point, COVID, right? So working in COVID, what was your challenge? Biggest challenge during this COVID time?
Biggest challenge. Mm, I don't think there was any huge. I was very, very lucky to not have experienced a huge challenge when working in COVID because it was a huge blessing to even be able to work in COVID in the first place,
Mhm.
especially in the entertainment industry. Everybody was getting laid off, people's jobs were getting canceled. So to be able to actually film a movie during COVID, I feel very, very lucky to have been able to do that. And when it comes to shooting on set during COVID, it is a little bit challenging. You have to wear masks, you have to maintain social distancing, but in general, cast is given the privilege of kind of being a little bit more lenient, and crew, focuses a lot on maintaining those restrictions. So they definitely had it much, much harder. And I know that our director and our producers, everyone wore 3 layers of masks with a shield. They were sweating underneath. So definitely all the people on the set had it much harder than I did. But I think one of the main obstacles of COVID was not being able to see people's faces. Especially in acting, you love seeing people's faces and you just love seeing how they speak. So it was hard to kind of not be able to see that connection with them. But other than that, everyone on set made me feel so comfortable and they truly did, do their best to make me feel as, happy and comfortable as possible.
Agreed. Awesome. So Avantika, I think learning more on this topic, before that, I just wanted to ask you one more question. I know you are multi-talented, right? You are a singer, you act, and also you did advertisements, you did a short film. So in all these things, which is your favorite one? If I were to ask, what is your favorite act in these all these different activities?
I'm gonna say acting. I love acting a lot, and it
You
is
love acting.
it's
Awesome.
probably my
I know
favorite.
that you also sing, right?
I do.
So why don't you sing? Being a Telugu girl, why don't you sing us a small stanza in English? First Telugu, then you might really do anything in English. That would be awesome.
I probably can't. My voice is so sore right now because I'm so sick. But I would love to have sung. I genuinely just cannot sing right now because my voice is so sore.
That's okay. That's okay. No problem. I hope you feel better. Again, thank you so much for coming during this time. I didn't know that you're not well.
No, 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 not at all. It's just a virus that's going around in Atlanta. But it's okay. No issues at all.
Okay, that's awesome. So now coming to your drama, you have done some course, right? In drama in Mumbai. That's what you said.
Not
So
in
what are the
Mumbai, in America.
in America? Okay, that's fine. So what is your goal? What is your goal in this? For example, if I were to ask, what is your goal in your education? What you want to pursue? What you want to become?
In education, as of now, I'd love to pursue psychology, criminal psychology. I'm very interested in that. So, someday I'd like to go to college and I'd like to study criminal psychology. I'd also like to study film. I think studying film uh, in an environment where they respect curriculum and they respect syllabus, it's a very interesting experience, and that's a different experience. Whereas what I'm doing now is practical application. I'm doing acting on set actually, but I feel like it's a totally different environment to do it in school. So I'd love to pursue that as well.
Awesome. So what is your favorite set in? Maybe you have acted in Brahmotsavam in Telugu and you are acting in Spin. So can you tell us in Tollywood and Hollywood, what is the best set you have seen? A
Best
location.
best set or
Favorite.
location. Best set that I've seen is probably the sets of Brahmotsavam. They are
Mhm.
just so big and so grand, and we shot in Uri for one of the songs. So I think just seeing all of that lush greenery and the mountains, and it was a hill station, it was just very interesting. And I think visually, that was one of the most beautiful sets that I've seen.
Excellent. Tell us more about a best memorable comment what you got for your acting or singing or dancing throughout your journey. Which was the memorable comment, a good comment for your act performance?
Oh my gosh.
That's a tough question.
It is a tough question. Um, I think someone once told me it was for dancing. Someone once told me that watching you makes me feel very happy, and I think that was probably one of the best comments that I've ever gotten. As an entertainer, and an artist, I think the most gratifying feeling is to make someone feel something, especially if they feel happy watching you. So that is probably one of the best comments that I've gotten ever.
That's good. That's good. So, Avantika, stardom. Now you are a Hollywood actress, right? So, when it comes to stardom, whenever you go to community, whenever you go to your relatives, whenever you go anywhere where you go, what kind of questions you get and how do you feel about it?
Um, Yeah, whenever I go to relatives or weddings, I mean, the questions that I get are mostly surround around my career and how do you feel about acting? And I think talking about acting and talking about pursuing arts as a career in the South Asian community is a little bit taboo. So I get that people are like a little bit intrigued by the fact that I pursued acting as opposed to a career in STEM or something that would be a little bit more typical. But I definitely get those questions all the time when I go to see family, and I appreciate it, and I love that everyone's really, really interested. And, I love to answer the questions, but at the same time, I think sometimes I'd love to just kind of, be a person and, talk about regular stuff. But at the end of the day, they're my family, and they're interested, and there'll come a day when no one is interested in what you're doing. So, when people are interested and they want to know what you're doing, you have to respect it and you have to understand that they're intrigued by it and you have to entertain them.
Good, good. So, definitely, I would like to ask in now, there might be so many people will be inviting you, especially in the US. You know that because of the COVID, a lot of cultural activities are on hold, but now you would see a lot of momentum being a Dasara Diwali season. So you will be, everyone will be want to speak to you, want to take a photograph. So now your time starts. So how do you feel when people surround you, take a picture and ask so many questions? What are you doing? What is your new movie? So how do you feel about that? What will be your response?
I appreciate it. I really, really do. It's very different because if you grew up just going to middle school and kind of being invisible, and then all of a sudden people want to speak to you and they want to ask you about your life, it's just very interesting to me, and I genuinely appreciate it so much because it's such a compliment to me that people are interested in my life, and I would love to answer their questions and give them pictures because it makes people happy, and at the end of the day that's my job.
Excellent. Avantika, being a girl, you have accomplished so much, right? So, what is your message to all the kids? It may be in United States or it might be in India. What would be your inspiring message to all of them?
Mm. My message to I think all kids is if you work hard at what you love, you can attain success in it and you can attain a level of comfortability. So if you're ever kind of debating, oh, should I pursue this? Should I pursue that? Just know that if you work your butt off and you stay determined and you stay perseverant, you can attain success and you can, make money off of it. Financial stability and success and fortune, and all of this will follow as long as you work hard and do what you love.
Excellent message, Avantika. I would think all of them who are watching this show, definitely they would inspire from your message, and they will also strive to do what they love. That's what I'm expecting.
Yes.
And another thing comes to my when I was reading about you, I also see that you have done some of the interviews with the stars like Mahesh Babu, Kajol, and many more. So during this journey, it is very interesting for me to know that you have also done interviews. So what made you do? You had a passion to talk to them, or how did this evolve?
Genuinely, yeah, I did have a passion to talk to them, and they were much, much older than me, and they are actors and they're very, very busy all the time. So I wanted to ask them questions, and if you can schedule it and put it in an interview setting, you get that opportunity to speak with them. And I think they found it very intriguing that, a little 10-year-old girl wanted to ask them questions and wanted to interview them. So it was kind of a mutual experience, and I had a lot of fun speaking to them. And to this day, I still remember like being backstage and writing down my questions and being like, I'm going to ask them this, and this. And yeah, I do remember it being a very nice experience.
So how did that idea came and how did you execute that? So the reason I am asking this question is because when something comes in your mind, you executed it. And I think you were very little at that time. What was your age, if I were to ask, when you did this interview
I
with
think
Mahesh Babu?
11.
11.
11.
So 11-year-old girl asking a big star in India and preparing questions and all. So first, when you got this idea, did you speak to your mom or did you speak directly to Mahesh Babu?
No, when I got the idea, I wanted to speak to them, and so I told my mom. And since we were on a film with Mahesh Babu, he was a little bit more accessible to us. So, she went about her way of, talking to the assistant directors on set and asking, hey, my daughter really wants to speak to Mahesh Babu, but we also think it would be a really good idea to publish this interview online. We think people would really like it. So we kind of pitched the idea. 67 90% of the credit goes to my mom because an 11-year-old me did not know what was happening. She really just went, I want to talk to Mahesh Babu. And my mom was like, okay, then we'll schedule an interview. Then we'll make it happen. So my mom truly did go and try to connect people, and she made it happen. But I think it was a very, weird way of going about doing something like that, because it was also a weird idea for an 11-year-old kid to interview Mahesh Babu.
Were you nervous to talk to Mahesh Babu?
Oh, yeah, very, very nervous. I was really nervous to speak to him, but I have a tendency of, being very nervous before auditions and being very nervous before I speak to people. But once I'm in front of them, all of the stress kind of goes away and I, become normal again.
And excellent, excellent. I think that's a fantastic idea because that really gives a lot of confidence, and your shyness will go away. The stage fear will go away. I think you should continue that because you will be interacting with great people, not only in Tollywood, Bollywood, but also now Hollywood. I would definitely ask you to continue. That's a great, great thought about doing that. I would definitely ask you to continue that. And coming to your next films, do you have any more films in line?
I'm now on a film with Netflix, with Rebel Wilson. It's called Senior Year, and that's what I'm filming in Atlanta now. But that is my next film.
So if you were to, so I know that unknowingly you have come into a acting profession, right? So before this, what was your thought to become? Because any kid, if you ask what you want to become, they will say engineer, a doctor, a lawyer, anything. So what was your goal when you were small? If someone were asking this question.
I wanted to be an artist or somewhere related to arts, and honestly, I feel like so many kids have dreams of becoming an artist, whether it be a painter or a dancer or a singer. I think it's just the way that our society has kind of created this, stereotype of a starving artist, and that's how, so many people choose STEM instead. And STEM has brought so many improvements to our society that it's not something to, say negatively about, but I also think that I'm not special in a sense that I had a unique dream of pursuing the arts. I feel like so many kids want to be artists. I just had, the luxury, I think, of being able to go and pursue it. But when I was little, ever since I was little, I have wanted to be at somewhere in the arts, wherever it may be.
I'm glad that what you thought and what you're doing matches, because you're so lucky that everyone will not have that opportunity, right? As soon as you finish your graduation, your PG, you know what it comes at the time people take. Very, very few people will be very clear on their thought what they wanted to become. I'm very glad that you became what you wanted, Avantika.
Thank
And coming to the social responsibility, right? That's the biggest thing as a actress, as a celebrity. Now I would definitely call you as a celebrity. So what would be your what is your thought on social responsibility? Did you think anything, or you are still thinking, you didn't think about it, or what is your
social,
situation
respons-
on?
social responsibilities as in charitable organizations and charitable endeavors. Is that what you mean?
Yes.
Um, I think that comes with being a person, and if you're a person in a place of privilege and you have money and you have the opportunity to do good for other people, you should always take it. Don't think it has anything to do with being, in your words, a celebrity. But if you have a certain platform, which now I have the opportunity and blessing of having because of the films release and because of Disney, I think it's even more important to use it for good. And I think that has to do with spreading awareness. And I have things planned for the next year of, going to India, and I think giving back to my community there, because that's very, very important to me. I have also started a nonprofit with my best friend. It's regarding climate change and, making small steps that will help us in the right direction of preserving our planet. And we conduct beach cleanups and activities that volunteers can come to in California.
Awesome. That's a great thought, Avantika. Climate change is really needed. I
Yes.
think I would pray, and all our blessings will be with you to make it this successful, and whatever you can, you definitely have to do and make that progress. So today, where you are, right? Definitely the credit goes to your mom and dad,
Yeah.
right? What will be your message through this show? If you were to tell a great message, what do you want to tell about your mom and dad?
My mom and my dad, they truly are the best people ever. I'm very, very lucky to have them. And I think they know that. And, I know it too. And I see actors in this industry and I see the kind of support system they have, and I feel very blessed to have the kind of support system that I have, because the entertainment industry is risky and it can be unsafe for kids. So it's important to have good people behind you and encouraging people behind you. And my mom and my dad have always been that way. And I grew up in an environment, I was raised in an environment that did not prioritize winning. It prioritized trying your very, very best and working as hard as you can. And I respect that very much. And I think it has a lot to do with how I am today. And all of that credit goes to them.
Excellent. Excellent, Avantika. Thank you to your parents, Srikant and Anupama Reddy. Thank you so much for them, especially being with you and sacrificing everything and building a great artist in you and what you want to achieve. Really, thanks to the parents. And I also tell through this show, I wanted to tell every parent, please try to understand what your kid wants and try to pursue and help them and support them whatever they wanted to do, right? So
Yeah.
when we were small, definitely we were forced to do, hey, you become an engineer, you become a doctor, you become a lawyer. No, that's completely changed. If I were to ask in America, things are changed. They go with what they want. But in India, still you see that, people forcing peer pressure and all those kinds of stuff that leads to a lot of depression too, sometimes. So with that said, I think we are almost ending the hour of the show, Avantika, and I would definitely ask you a question like how many films so far you have done, and especially I didn't touch upon the advertisement. I know that you have done one of the national advertisement. Why don't you tell about more that experience and what you have done to our viewers?
I was in an advertisement for Fortune Oil, and that was my biggest advertisement in India. That whole experience was just so bizarre because I did a small audition in front of this curtain in my room, and I just did this small movement, and I think the director really, really liked it. So they picked me for the ad, and I went to Chennai and I shot it. But I don't think anybody expected it to be as big as it was. And I feel very, very lucky. Even to this day, when I go to India, people will recognize me from that ad. So I think experiences like that to me are the coolest, where you walk in not knowing what to expect and then it blows up and becomes this huge thing. So I treasured that memory as one of my favorite projects that I've ever worked on.
Wow, that's good. So how many movies you have done in Telugu so far?
I have done 8 or 9 movies. I've done 8 or 9 movies.
Have you done anything in Bollywood so far?
No, but maybe one day I would love to.
We wish you have to do. Definitely you have to do the big star, maybe Salman Khan. Who knows? That movie is for you, Avantika. Okay. With that said, I wanted to give a final message to all the viewers. What message you want to give to the community?
To the community. Um, just support your children, whatever they want to do. Uh, we have such a, I think the South Asian community and the Indian community is so big, and it's so encouraging, and we prioritize family, and we prioritize, um, keeping relationships together. So at the same time, if you could support your kids in doing what they want to do, they would just be so happy, and it would, I think it would elevate our community to a whole nother level. And I really genuinely hope that after people watch this film, they realize that we can be successful at whatever we want to do. We just have to work hard at it, and that our parents and our grandparents and our sisters and our brothers will all kind of uplift kids in our community to doing what they love.
Wonderful message, Avantika. So when can we see the Spin movie?
You
When
can
is the release?
you can see Spin on August 13th on Hotstar in India and Disney Channel in America.
Awesome. We wish you good luck, and I'm sure that you will have lined up in Hollywood. And we wish that you also should enter into Bollywood. And we wish you good luck. Again, thank you for your time. And I know that you're not well, but still you made for this show. We are proud of you, Avantika, and definitely we'll meet sometime. And wish you good luck. Thank you so much. Thank you, viewers, for your time. And today, that's what is our show about Avantika Vandanapu. What a great achievement and journey she had from Tollywood to Hollywood. And definitely everyone should see the movie Spin and bless her so that she can continue to have our journey in Hollywood. Thank you so much, Avantika. Have
Thank
a great day.
you too. Bye.